Hello. It's good to see you.
Are you at home now?
This is my little office, my workshop.
It's amazing. I love that. I think you have more books than me.
Yeah, you got it. They're friends, you need them.
This has become my daughter's favorite book. You've been almost releasing something almost every year.
Yeah, that's been the goal, trying.
That's prolific. That's amazing, though. But just think about all the lives that you're touching.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Today's talk is with New York Times bestselling author Brad Montague to talk about how we can all be who we needed when we were younger. I'm going to introduce him in a second, but one more activity before I do the introductions. In the chat right now, or if you're watching this via live stream, put it in the comments. I want you to type in the answer to this question. What's the one thing you wish someone had told you when you were younger that could have made a positive difference in your life? 2, 1. I'm proud of you. It's okay to mess up. You don't have to be anyone else. Trust yourself. You have value. Life doesn't have to be hard. Love yourself. Oh, I think I'm tearing up, guys. That there's a lot beyond what you think of yourself right now. Stay high. You're good. Everything's going to be okay. You matter. So thank you, everyone, for this. This is so powerful. Just seeing some of those comments. I wish I had those lessons when I was growing up. So let me introduce Brad. Brad Montague is a writer, a speaker, a director who is known for creating uplifting and inspiring content for children and adults alike. He's also the founder of Montague Studios with his lovely wife, Christy. In addition to being the author of the New York Times bestselling book, Kid President's Guide to Being Awesome, he is the author of the book, Becoming Better Grown-Ups. It encouraged readers to embrace their creativity and childlike wonder. He followed this up with my daughter's favorite book, The Circles Around Us. And I am so excited to announce that he recently released the fantastic Bureau of Imagination. Make sure you go to Amazon, any bookstore retailers, and get it right now. And after you read it, make sure you comment and you share and you gift the book, because that's how we support writers and authors. As a writer and director, his work has captured the attention of people like Tom Hanks, Beyonce, and even the Obamas. Brad can currently be seen as a host of the new television series, The Kindness Project, on the Magnolia Network and Discovery. About a year ago, I was just surfing the web and I found this image. It was a photo of this man. I didn't know who he was at that time. And there was a hand-scribbled note on the big screen that said, "Be who you needed when you were younger." I didn't know who he was at the time, but the words moved me. Like, I can't even explain. Without further ado, woo, drum roll, Brad.
Hello.
Hi.
This is the best. You,
I'm
you
so
are
excited.
the best.
You're
You're
the
so
best.
gracious. You're so kind. Your community is just, this is a dream. I'm so happy to be here.
You're a fellow raindrop now, so I call our community raindrops because I believe that we are all like raindrops. Everything we do seems small and inconsequential, but when we come together, we become the ocean. And it's this ocean that creates ripples, and these ripples that create waves, and that's how we change the world. And so you are also a raindrop, just as I am a
Ah,
raindrop.
again, the best. That is you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So I'm so excited to have you here. Your work has changed so many lives. Just that one quote, "Be who you needed when you were younger," that is so powerful. What inspired that quote, "Be who you needed when you were younger"? And what does that mean to you?
It's fascinating how that has run laps around the internet. Like that image of, I was giving a talk to a room full of educators, and anytime I speak or do a live event, I love to make it as personal as possible. So I handwrite my slides and I want it to feel like a person made this. And one of the teachers in the audience took that photo, and it's me standing in front of the "Be Who You Needed When You Were Younger" piece. And then what's been really interesting is all your beautiful response about the generational curses to be broken, and all the healing that can happen when you think about that. It's this phrase that unlocks something for people because I think they hear it and they think about being a reflection of something they had or a reaction to something they didn't. And that's really a great starting place because it takes you back to who you were when you were vulnerable, who you were when you were small, who you were when you were so young and still in your formative years. Like this place where maybe there was somebody who showed up, or maybe there's somebody you wished had shown up. And it activates this really meaningful part of us that wants to live with purpose, that wants to live as an expression of love. And so it really roots us in something that's deep in our bones. I care about this. I want to be this for somebody. And it's interesting to hear you talk about how it's resonated with you because of what you had and also wished you'd had. I see you living that out. I see you creating that community and being of service and creating ways in which people have help and guides. Like it's you are an example of that exact phrase, be who you needed when you were young.
I love that. Your books are definitely a manifestation of that, from Kid Presidents to The Circles Around You. It's rare that you read books like children's book that has like this. It's very sophisticated in a lot of ways, and just in terms of talking out about emotions and feelings and loneliness and how it's important to bring community inside the circle. I was reading it and I was like, this is so profound. Your books are filled with hope, motivation, and inspiration. What inspired you to write and illustrate? And what do you want children to take away from your books?
Oh, yeah. There's this in the Kid President pep talk, there's a line from Robert Frost where I had Kid President say, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the road less traveled, and it hurt. Like there were rocks and thorns. It's not cool, Robert Frost. And I included that because I had been reading a lot of Robert Frost, and that line is a thing you've heard over and over. And I've always loved his work, always loved lots of poetry. But he had a thing where he talked about where poems come from. And he said that poetry begins as a lump in your throat. That there's this, for him, a poem came, this thing inside him that had to come out, like a lump in the throat. And we don't think about happy little picture books as coming from a lump in the throat, but it truly does. It's this expression that had to be made. And all of my work is that because I didn't consider myself a director before Kid President, but it was like this thing I had to make. And the books, I didn't consider myself a writer, but it's like, I gotta say this, and I don't know how else but a book. And my drawings, I wish I could draw horses that didn't look like potatoes, but I draw them, and that's the way they look. But I have to express it, and they come out that way. And so it begins as this deep lump in the throat of, oh, I wish every kid knew how much they mattered. I wish every adult knew how much they mattered. I wish everybody knew just how possible possibility is. Let me create something that says that. And sometimes it comes out okay. But the expression is there, and that's where it comes from.
I think it's such an important point too, because in this kind of world of social media where everyone has these curated lives, and I think we as parents try to protect our kids from danger or hurt. But I think sometimes it is the walking on gravel, on twigs, that's necessary to shape us, and that it's okay to go through tough times. But what matters is that you keep on going, and that there is like this light at the end of the tunnel, and that you have to persevere, and that you can't put yourself in a bubble and be protected all the time.
Yeah. I started doing a series of events. You might like these, your audience might too, where I did a thing called a failabration. And at an event, normally like a TED Talk, is everybody sharing the best possible self. Here's a thing I did great. Here's an award I won. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And I don't think you learn that way. Like you learn when somebody tells you, hey, here's how I lost a whole lot of money. Hey, here's what I did that was super dumb. Don't do that. Hey, if you touch that fire, it'll burn you. Don't do it. Like all that stuff. And so I invited some friends who have done really amazing things, but they weren't allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
And we had a celebration, and they shared really tough, vulnerable things. But at the end, the audience were under contract, and the audience was that they would give a standing ovation and applaud them and say,
For their
"Thank you, we'll
failures.
see you." Yeah, and it was really profound and funny and moving. Like people
Yeah.
cry at the end of these
You're
because I
like my
think
you're like
we
my
need
soul
it.
brother because it's funny because I've been wanting to do an event like that for like literally a decade, but I just never had the guts to do it. So you've inspired me. I think I will actually eventually do it.
Oh, it would be incredible what
That
you
would
could
be
do.
fun.
I'm doing one with a group of educators in this summer. It's going to be like a big conference. Several thousand teachers are going to be there, and I can't wait like for them to
Yeah.
just hear, "Hey, here's what went wrong." They're going
It's
to be really healing, I
it's
think.
so funny because we're in a world that like focuses on perfectionism so much, and there's no such thing as perfectionism. And in order for us to get even close to perfection or to get better, we need to make a lot of mistakes. And I think we do a disservice to our children when they're in the wombs and we want them to go to Harvard or Stanford or all any of these universities, and that they have to be Olympic swimmer by the age
Yeah.
of 7 or 8. And I'm saying this and I'm talking to myself because as a parent, I'm just like, you want the best for your kids, but they also have to be able to find their way. Fall, get back
Yeah.
up, fall, get back
Well,
up.
it's interesting. You asked everyone at the beginning in the chat to put, here's what do you wish someone had said to you when you were a child? And there was these beautiful phrases of "you're enough, you're okay, you are lovable, you are," and I'm going, I need to hear that now. And and there's something about it's true for a child, it's true for us at any age that we need to know we're lovable, that we're loved and we're okay. And we forget to say these things to each other and to ourselves.
The important kind of aha moment that I had, Brad, was that as a parent, my child is always looking at me. So even so how I treat myself is basically teaching her how she should teach herself as a grown up. And
Mhm,
so
mhm.
self-care, being able to take care of myself, have boundaries. I think as parents we tend to try to put everybody else in front of ourselves.
Yeah.
But if we don't do the simple practice of respecting ourselves, how do you expect our children who are watching us to do the same? And that was my big kind of light bulb moment, which is my daughter's watching. And then having that is just, okay, am I respecting my boundaries? Because she's going to learn to respect her boundaries the same way. Am I taking risk? I have a funny story. We were eating breakfast with my daughter, and I was just looking outside the window, and she's, Mom, I know what you're thinking. And I was like, oh, what am I thinking? And she was like, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. But I was just thinking about what I say. You don't think about what you're saying as a parent. And what I was reflecting to my daughter is I'm always tired, I'm always exhausted. So if I'm not present, if I'm not energetic, if I'm not taking care of my physical health and of my emotional health, how can I be there fully for the people I love?
Yeah. I interviewed elementary school students in all 50 states. I did this project where I asked them, what does a great grown-up look like?
Yeah.
And they told me all sorts of stories of really incredible grown-ups and all this sort of thing. They also described and drew pictures of what they think adults are. And they were like
It's like someone with
monsters.
a cell phone, right?
Oh, yeah, a lot of them. And the common thread was that adults in their eyes were big, busy, and boring. Like the three
But
things.
it's true.
You're like,
It's true though,
oh,
right?
oh yeah. Like, why would they want to grow up? What? How? We're not making it look attractive. And but then when they would tell me stories of great adults, I think I had this idea when I asked the question that I would get some big reveal of, oh, here's the secret to being a great adult. It's like huge trips to Disneyland. It's a giant, massive birthday party with a petting zoo and blow ups and jet skis. No, it was just very simple. This guy showed up. We do this all the time. I can count on this person.
Yeah.
And it was this repeated thing over and over, no matter what the learning environment was, no matter what their economic background, no matter anything. It was a present adult was a great adult for them. And
That
that's all
that
they want from us. And what
you
they
can
deserve is our presence.
that one line, being present, because a lot of times we are maybe with our kids, but we're on our cell phones, we're on our computers, and
Oh
the
yeah.
power of just being present
Yeah.
is powerful. And
Yeah.
just saying, how are you doing and how was your day, and actually listening opposed
Yeah,
to
I
just
do a lot
asking.
of big things for my kids, I feel like throughout but then I also am distracted a lot and busy. But I've come to realize that it's not the big things I do or the busy things I do that serve them well. It's when I do these little things like tie my daughter's shoe, like
Oh,
look her in the eye, like just when they're telling me about Pokemon for the hundredth time,
yeah.
just look them in the eye and be present. And that over time is what makes a difference.
So talking about adults now, what inspired you to write the book Becoming Better Grown-ups, and what message do you hope readers to take away from it?
Yeah, with Kid President, I found myself that we ended up being in schools all over the world. And I got to visit and be with lots of teachers, and I loved it. It was so revealing to me. Like one of my original, when I went to school, I originally was an education major. I wanted to be a fourth grade teacher because my fourth grade teacher completely changed my life. So I thought I'm going to teach fourth grade. And then I found out I'm not going to be so good at this. I'm more concerned about making the videos for the school or writing the story. It wasn't going to be a good teacher. And then so getting to be with classrooms, I want to do this more. When we did a book tour for Kid President. And so then I went on a tour, a listening tour, where I visited elementary schools all over the country and I was able to interview kids. And then I thought, I also really want to hear from these people who've grown up. I want to be a good grown up. I just become a dad for the first time and I was like, I've got to figure this out. And so I found that not only listening to kids, but I spent time with people in assisted living facilities, people who are over the age of 100, and I asked them, "What's the secret to living? Like, how do you do this? Not just how do you not die, but how do you arrive at this older age and have peace and joy?" And their answers were not so dissimilar from that of the fourth graders. It was very much about presence, and there was this profound sense of presence when I'm with those who are over the age of 100 and I'm asking them, what does it mean to live a good life? Like, how can I be a great grown up? And they tell me, to love people, to love well is to live well, to serve is to live, is what one woman, she was 103 years old. And she said, every day I think, thank you. And now let me do something for somebody else. And that was infectious. She was younger than most people I know, and at the age of 103, it's because she's constantly living out of gratitude.
It reminds me of there's a hospice nurse, Bonnie, I believe it's Bonnie Ware, I believe, and she basically interviewed people's what are their five most biggest regrets
Right.
before passing away, and the number one was not living their lives, but what other people wanted for them. So that
Yes.
biggest regret
Yes.
was not living the life that they wanted to live. So it's interesting that you took it from the other perspective, which is how do you live a full life? So there's two quotes from the book that I was thought was very profound. I'm going to share this just because it moved me. One was this: we need to stop waiting for permission to be the people we were made to be. That just, yeah, that was powerful. And the other one was powerful for me was this one: we were all born creative, but sometimes we forget that along the way. I'm in this kind of journey where I was always like the serious person. And it wasn't until I had my daughter where I really had to literally force myself and learn how to play. Because even when I was a child, I had so many responsibilities and goals that I didn't learn how to play. And so it's only now that when I had my daughter, I was like, I need to be conscious of learning how to play. And in that process, I became more creative. Like we just launched our YouTube channel, and the inspiration from that was actually my daughter, because my daughter wanted to post some YouTube videos. And so I started playing around with her on
Yep.
shorts, and I was like, oh, this is fun, right? And I don't like looking at myself and creating things, videos, all this other stuff. And that was the spark, playing with my daughter and doing like TikTok videos and dancing, that made me motivate me on my creative pursuit. And now I'm learning at 40, close to 50, how to be a videographer, how to edit, how to be more creative, how to write scripts. And so that all came with that kernel of just learning how to play and be creative, which was such a struggle for me. And it might be different for someone who like you knew at a very early age that you were creative. And I think for me, it's something that I had to work on. So what was the kernel of that, the importance of play, and what can we learn from that, the folks who are watching this right now?
Yeah, for me, it was, I totally hear all you're saying. Absolutely. And for me, it was, I'm creative, but oh no, I don't want to share this. This is too weird. This is not helpful. This isn't productive. Nobody asked for this. How is this? Because I grew up on a farm. My dad's a farmer. That makes sense. It's very practical. People are asking for the things he provides. My mother, a nurse, a registered nurse, like that is a productive member of society. And I tell little stories about birds. Like, what? How is this helpful? And it's growing into beginning to see that there's so many things that I had mistaken as childish that were not, that were instead childlike. And that there are these things that are childlike that we need, that we should have, that we should be. We need to be open and full of wonder. We need awe. We need to play. To be childish is something we see plenty of on and out and about in the world. We don't need more childish adults, but we do need more childlike ones. And I think we're at our best when we are childlike. And that's when we are playful as well. Karita Kent is a painter who I love. Sister Karita Kent did these really beautiful, bright, colorful works where her faith was mixed in with the paint and the work. It was just, she's an incredible artist. And she has this word that she described to her students that she wanted them to arrive at when they were creating. And it was to plork. It was this great combination of play and work that, like, when you're plorking, that's when it's really good. And so it's always getting to a place where because you can become so obsessed with the details and perfection that it's homework. It's just like there's no love in that. It's just doing work and assignment. And there's play. If you're just playing, that's fine, but you're not arriving, there's not this mixture of purpose with it. So plork has this, I love that idea, and I love when I feel that in somebody's work, when you can see it, that maybe the lines are a little looser, or maybe you can see that they took joy in the creation of it. That's contagious. That's part of why I do hand draw my slides for presentations when I speak, because I want the whole talk to feel like this was created out of love and joy. This person didn't do this as homework or as an assignment for us. This is a gift to us that he created from joy that's going to create more joy. That's where the play comes in. So being childlike in that way, I think is contagious. And also what's really fun about the kind of work I do is, like, I used to be really nervous about going to big meetings where there'd be a bunch of people in suits. Like when I visit a TV network and have to pitch a project, I would feel so out of place. But then when I started to ask them about, so who did you have that was your favorite teacher when you were a kid? What was your favorite toy? Or what was your favorite picture book? And they return to this childlike state.
Yeah.
Like their posture changes, their eyes change, they smile, they laugh.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I've pulled off this robotic suit that they've covered themselves up in, and you get to the real person and they start telling you about, oh, I had this rabbit that I loved as a kid. Or, oh, I read this book. Oh, my favorite teacher was this. And they become lighter. They become playful. They become childlike. They become who they're meant to be.
Well, piggybacking on that, you did a web series where you interviewed world leaders using tin cans with strings attached to it.
Yes, yes.
First, why? And what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, it was so fun because we're talking to the Secretary General of the United Nations, and you hand him a tin can and some string, and there's this confusion, but also this delight of, I haven't done this today. And then as they speak to me using like the same technology they would use on a playground or in a backyard, they loosen up and they would actually say things they wouldn't say otherwise. Celebrities is the same way. It was people who'd been on the covers of magazines or they've won awards. When we were playing in the interview, they felt at ease, and it also was somewhat terrifying for them, I could tell as well, because a child would be interviewing them as well. I would do the pre-interview and then the child would come in and ask bonus questions. And they know a kid's going to be real. A kid's going to not necessarily stay on script. And so they had to stay on their toes and be honest.
So your work really focuses a lot on kindness and empathy. How do you think we can encourage these values in a world that seems so divided and polarized?
That's the constant question, right? That's that's what we're here to do. Positive cultural disruption, to show up as humans and remind each other we're humans, just who long to be and deserve to be loved. And so even on, whether it's on LinkedIn or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or wherever, these algorithmic things, we have compassion and we show up with heartbeats, and we must, it is our work to be human and share that and love through whatever it is we're doing. Khalil Gibran said, work is love made visible. So like, I found that to be true, that whether you work in a post office or in a public, as a public servant in some way, or a creator or running a business, your work can be love made visible. And so when those people, when you do what you do, and you do it out of love, from love, with such love, it is contagious. And we can only hope it's received with that same love.
Well, I think what's powerful too is that when you give love, you get more love back. You become a more lovable person. Like people expect love or they want love, but they first have to do the first part, which is to be a loving person. And not that it's necessary that you need this in order to get love, but I think it's in life, what we put in, the energy we put in, we get out. And one of the things I always say is that love is not a noun, it's a verb, right? And so if you want love, you need to act in a loving way, right?
Yeah, yes. And there's this project that I did this past year with the Magnolia Network that's called the Kindness Project. And there's this struggle at the beginning where we were going to be doing projects that would surprise people. They wanted to do kind acts for people. And there was this kind of anxiety from some of the people on the ground going, I don't know if this is going to work. And I had to remind everyone that we can't operate from a place of, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if people are going to care. Because, yeah, they may not. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be kind. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't do this. And joy and love and hope they defy mathematics. Like they do not diminish when we share them. Instead, they grow and they multiply. And we're going to show up and do this. One of my favorite writers is this farmer and poet in Kentucky, Wendell Berry, who is wise beyond years. And he writes about, when he talks about people, he talks about a community as a membership. And that I love that idea because the way we all are to each other is members of each other. And there's the only difference in who's in and who's out is those who realize they're members and those who don't know it yet. It's almost like our job is to tap each other on the shoulder and go, hey, you're in. Yeah. Like you did at the beginning of this. You're like, hey, you're a raindrop. Like you're in this. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. I'm in.
Part of the community too.
It's just part of our work is just to constantly let everybody know, hey, you're in. Yeah, you're in the club. You're part of us.
One of the things that, it's funny because you had posted on LinkedIn probably like a month ago when you were promoting your book. You're like, this is the part I don't like, is promoting myself. Yes. And I had replied to you and I was like, this is the thing. Whenever I think about, oh, self promotion, it feels icky to me.
Your
But when I
response,
read,
I
yeah,
screenshot and saved it, put it in a
yeah.
folder on my phone so that I could remember what you wrote was so helpful.
But it's just basically about how can I help this one person that's reading it. And if you just focus on that, it doesn't matter how many people you impact. Because if you could change one life or it can make someone's day, you've already won the battle, right? And so your books are so powerful. Like my daughter has reread this a million times, but it's also she's going to take those stories with her for the rest of her life. And so it is behooving to of you, Brad, to promote the work that you do because there's so much goodness in it and it has the potential to change thousands, millions of lives. So you need to do it, right? So
Thank you.
I'll open this to questions from the live Zoom audience in a second. And if you are watching on YouTube, you can ask it in the comments. But before I open it up, I want to ask you this question. We all heard of the trap that hurt people hurt others, right? Hurt people. For people who have overcome difficult experiences, how do we use our pain to be a force of good in the world?
Yeah. There's a thing I've noticed in some of the most helpful, joyful, loving people is that they have been hurt, and that because of that, they operate from a place of deep understanding, deep knowing, and they chose to live life in a creative response to that, in a generative response to that, in which they said, I don't want anybody else to feel this. I don't want anybody else to go through this in the same way. They allowed that anger or hurt and whatever those challenges were, they were allowed them to become something that transformed into a joyful healing for others. And I think those people also walk with a deep knowing that there's sadness, but also a deep knowing that there's hope, and that they hold that tension in a healthy way that invites everybody into it. I'm absolutely floored by some of the wisdom of even kids who have gone through traumatic things and yet come through that with an urgency to let others know you're okay, you're part of this, it's possible to get through this. There's something so incredible about humans sometimes that we can go through things and feel things and say, okay, I want to help others heal, to heal and help others heal. And that was what I discovered about the best grown-ups. And I put in the book, the Becoming Better Grown-ups, is that when I saw a great teacher or an uncle or a neighbor or anybody, they were people who had healed and were committed to helping others heal, had grown and were going to help others grow, had flown and were flying and wanted to help others fly. And that's what we're here to do.
And I think the powerful thing too is that it elevates your life. Being kind helps you. Even though most of the times that's not the reason why you help, your day gets better. Opportunities open up for you. There's so much benefit to it. And
Yeah, it feels ridiculous to say, oh, it's the most selfish act is to be selfless.
no, exactly.
And yet that is true. And it's not you're not doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. You're just doing it. And yet it does come back.
I have some great comments in the comments. Michelle Cordy, it takes one person to create the ripple effect in the universe. Amen to that. Joanne Walker, this quote is bang on. Loved people love people. That's awesome. John Roberts has a great comment. It works the opposite way too. Acts of kindness are also contagious. I love that.
Yes.
I think we have a question from Anne. I'll ask Anne's question for you. Question from Anne. What advice do you have for turning passion into a real job? Good question. And what was the point? Where was the point where you realized this? Because I know you were in the advertising agency and then you went into your creative pursuit. So what advice would you give to people who want to turn their passion into a profession?
Yeah, I think for me, it started with little acts within my normal job. Like I worked in news for a moment and I quickly realized the things I didn't want to do, the stories I didn't want to tell. And with that, I still had a job to do every day. Like I had stories that were demanded of me to tell, but it did create that lump in my throat of I want to tell a different story. I want to tell this from a different angle. So I started to find places within my work to I found out what I didn't want, and I also found, oh, here's what I do want. And then I began to find places within my work to redirect the assignments to be in that zip code at least. And then in working in advertising, this is much the same, where we're working with clients who have a message they want to say, and I have this personal message that I'm wanting to say to people and communicate. And you start to find that there's a happy space where you both exist, or you can invite them into. I started to find that there were times where those things weren't compatible, but also finding that more and more I was being provided with space where I could have purer and purer expressions of what my passion was, to work with kids, to help people who help kids. And even now, I'm still trying to work on making certain that the things I'm able to do are in line with my passion, that my passion, my purpose, and my priorities are best friends. And my
And
priorities
also what you're
are
good
not
at.
always hand in hand.
Yeah. But and I'll add to that too, also what you're good at, because this is something that's very natural to you, just from talking to you. This is because I think you also have to have an element of being good. I wouldn't make a good singer. Because I can't sing, but you have to have an ability too, I think, or you develop that ability.
Yeah, there's the craft element that, hey, look, I mentioned earlier with illustration, it's not being something that my illustrations don't necessarily look like exactly like I want them to all the time. And so like over the past couple of years, I've been working and trying to hone that craft to get better and stronger and be able to do what I do.
So
And
did you
getting
consider
closer.
yourself an artist growing up?
I did as a kid, and then I realized I didn't realize I had it programmed out of me. That's not possible. Like I never thought it was possible for me to do a picture book. I
To
just
make
thought
a
that's
live,
something
what,
other
to
people do.
make a living out of what
Yeah,
you
I
love,
always
right?
wanted to, but my dad's a farmer. Like we farm. My mom's a nurse. Like those are jobs that I'd heard of. I
Yeah.
had never met a real adult who did creative work. And then I saw Charles Schultz on TV drawing peanuts, and I was like, "Whoa, a person does that as a job?" And then those people became my heroes, and now I've sought them out and to be my teachers. There's an author illustrator right now, Peter Reynolds, who I've looked to him and said, "Hey, I need your help."
Yeah.
I don't know. I never had an adult around me who knew how to, who did what I loved, teach me, help me.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think Will Sullivan, you had a question. Will, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Sure. Hey, Lad. Always great to be
Hey,
here with you. And hey, Brad. Love the conversation. I've been exploring this notion of understanding when you're not welcome in the room, right? You talk about vulnerability. You've talked about all that you do. You have a technique or something that you do to pull someone out who doesn't want to receive your message? Or know that I'm probably in the wrong room and that's okay. I just would love to know your thoughts on that because I think it's important to teach children that as well. I don't know, your thoughts. Maybe you need another show on this, Lan. I don't know, but I really want to know a quick reaction to that. Thank you, Lan.
Will, it's very good. Okay, wow, that's a great question. Where did that bring up for you?
My thing is if your message isn't going to be for everyone. And one of the things that helped me is it's not my job to change anyone's mind. And first, as adults, it's next to impossible to change someone's mind first of all. But when someone is ready for a message and you have that message, that's an opportunity for them to learn into it. And sometimes it just takes a while. Maybe when I was younger, I wouldn't have been able to understand, or your content might not have resonated, but it resonates now. And I look at it and it's so powerful. But I think it's just you do good in the world, but also why focus on people who are resistant to change if there's a whole world of people who are hungry for what you want to say, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And there's a couple of places where I've absolutely felt this in recent. There's the online space where You can never predict where your work will end up and how it will be received. So there's places in which it's misunderstood or where it's totally understood and just, I don't like it, or someone will. And so in those spaces, I've grown to be able to understand that, oh, it's nothing is for everyone and that there's different perspectives. And there's spaces where you're working with people directly, looking them in the eyes and knowing they don't want me here. And that is never a good feeling. Especially, I'm a big Care Bear. Like I want everybody to like me, and for them to not, it just would get under my skin. And there's a couple of ways in which I've thought about it that help me. One is David Dark is a really brilliant mind who lives and works and writes in Nashville. And he describes it as a robot exorcism. And he's talking specifically of working with people who have ideological differences. Maybe it's in the political space or something. And that imagining, I think I alluded to this earlier, about somebody in a big robot mech suit, and you are trying to get all of those mechanisms of power away and just speak to the human. Can I get to the, okay, yeah, you're using this language, you're using this divisive thing, whatever. Let's talk as people. And if you can get to that humanity, then we can have a conversation. He even tells a story about it in the civil rights movement. There was someone who said that we must have the imagination to see each other as people, and that we can imagine all sorts of terrible things, but sometimes we forget to imagine that we're actually talking to fellow people who have feelings. So that has been helpful for me, and to know that there are places in which I belong, places in which I've made to feel I don't belong, but I can always create a space in which I can be in charge of, in which I say, you're in. You
love
belong.
that. You totally belong here.
Oh, it's amazing world.
I have a final question from Rajat. Rajat, do you want to unmute and ask your question? So this is in response to your pork, which is play work.
Plork is a totally different thing. It's edible.
Rajat, do you want to unmute and ask your question? Or if not, I'll ask it for you. Okay. So his question is, how do we avoid HALT, which is hungry, angry, lonely, tired? So it's hard, and I totally get it. It's hard to be kind. It's hard to be patient when you're hungry, angry, lonely, and tired, right?
Yep. And the thing I found is you can avoid it. Like, you will become hungry. You will become angry. I have become all of those things, and those become signals to me that it is time for me to take a nap. It is time for me to have a little snack. It's time for me to rest and refill so that I can show up in the way that I want to show up in the world, as light, as hope, as all of those things. But there's just times where I'm not going to be able to. What's hard is that as a parent, and if you do feel those things, you still have to show up and fix dinner. You still have to show up and do all the things. And that's where we must be patient with each other, dear humans.
I love that. And so closing up, tell us about the book that you have coming out, and also you have a new show that's coming out on Magnolia TV. For the book, buy it now. Go on Amazon or whatever bookstore, buy it now. Make sure you comment on it, you share it, you buy the book for others. That's how we support writers. So Brad, the fantastic Bureau of Imagination, buy it right now. Tell us more about what you're doing, projects you want to promote, all that good stuff.
Oh,
how we can find you.
Thank you. So Brad Montague, here's my name. I am Brad Montague. I'm on Instagram most of the time, here on LinkedIn occasionally. I have an email newsletter called The Enthusiast, comes out every week. That's been a really fun community to build. And with our books, I'm doing a lot of speaking. I love gathering with groups to help them work through how to do wonder work, which is the kind of work you do when you're full of wonder, when you're childlike. It allows us to unlock the best possible version of ourselves and what we can bring to the world. So I've been able to work with some really fun companies and groups on doing that. And with kids, we're working through how to be part of the Bureau of Imagination, which is living in a space of possibility and I'm doing a project where kids are going to be designing a city. So there, you can go to wondersparks.com where there's free resources for parents and educators, where they can take the book and they can do an activity. They can dream up what's the best possible future. How do we live in it? Because Peter Drucker said that the best way to predict the future is to create it. And so I'd love for kids to create a great future for us. So that's what I'm trying to
Love
nurture.
that. I'm so excited. So folks who are in the live Zoom audience, show Brad some love, turn on your videos, unmute yourself, because Brad deserves a round of applause. Woohoo! Brad! Turn on your videos, come on. Woo! Thank you so much, Brad. That was so powerful. I am so excited about the work you're doing. Thank you for being, now you're part of our Raindrop community. Folks on the line watching this live stream, make sure you buy the book today, support, follow. This is good stuff right here. And especially for those with little kiddies, this book has been a game changer for my daughter. Okay, thank you so much, Brad. Thank you, everyone. See you guys all at the next call. Oh, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, okay? Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.